Yeah. Yeah, I want to hear what I got to do about this episode. Yes. Oh, yes, we back. We back. We back. We back. We back. Lord, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into it. We have so much to discuss, and I'm gonna do it real quick. I won't keep you too much time, but I get down to the grits with the butter and the salt and pepper without the salt. That's the way I eat it. Ellis goes to ATL, trying to fix the mess that he created for himself, trying to protect his family, in my opinion, trying to protect his heart as well. So, one thing I was like trying to figure out. Sunday is back in ATL, and of course Ellis is probably having 1,000 regrets, telling her let's be friends, all this crap, right? So he's like, I'm just gonna go all the way up to go see her. The one part that I did really, really enjoy, okay, is when he did stop by to go see and go to Ain't Vi. I was like, come on, Queen Sugar. When he first walked in, I was hearing that she's never died. Take flight. That's the I said, okay. Oh, okay. Of course, he's talking to Hollywood. Then all of a sudden, this beautiful young lady named Randy pops up and says she's headed to Nashville. And I'm sitting here thinking, Ava, don't you do it. Do not throw life in there. Because she's beautiful. And of course, as he's sitting there, because he ordered one of her famous chicken sandwiches, and he's sitting there enjoying his meal, she's watching him eat. And as she said, and he did, made this sandwich look real good. And she just staring him up and down. Hollywood noticed it. And I was like, oh, here we go. She thinks you're fine, baby. But Ellis also, to me, he found her attractive. He was like getting into it, but you can tell, he's human. She kind of made her way, kind of talking to him a little bit. And, he was like, I think she said she takes pictures or draws or something. Sculpture. And she wanted to, use him as the muse, I guess, of sorts. And he was like, no, I got somebody. I got something going on. She was like, are you sure? It's interesting that she asked that question. He answered honestly and said, not really, but, it has to work. And as he saw, I loved how he did this. He was sitting there enjoying his meal, but he can tell that if he stayed around just the way he was going, he was like, let me get my food to go. I enjoyed that. So Hollywood, because he asked for a doggy bag. So Hollywood bagged up his food. And, that was pretty much, he was like, I'm finna roll out. But I was like, because I know how normally the way the show would go, it shows the show in different years. Now this season, I really haven't seen that, so I guess they're not doing that. I loved how they would go back and forth in the last season throughout the years, how one little scene or one little encounter would affect somebody's life in the future, which is real life. Maybe this time you met somebody, you wanted to date them, but you said no in 1985. Then you see him in 2019, maybe whatever, they're together or something happened, something changed. But in between that time, they was married, had girlfriends and boyfriends. So I love the way they would do it, the timeline, so we can like follow them in real life story. But they're not doing that, I don't feel like, in this second season. But anyway, because I was trying to think maybe they're gonna say like he's gonna come back in some kind of, she's gonna come back in his life. Maybe they have a fight or something where some kind of way they break up for a while and he ends up getting to know her. Maybe they have a year or so relationship and he ends up with Sunday at the end. But I'm just trying to say life. Okay, anyway, sorry, it went a long way to tell y'all that. but you know what I'm saying. Okay. Um. Hmm. So Sunday's getting ready for her segment. Oh, you know what? I forgot to add, and I added specifically for this. Is this the right one? I'm about to see. No, I don't think that's it. Is it this one? Let me see. So anyway, she's about to have her segment, the kitchen, because the whole thing is food. Her whole entire thing, her restaurant, it's very very important to her. She puts her blood, sweat, and tears in this. It's a real thing for her. Okay, so it's time for her to have her fit. They're filming her. Tanya Hollins is really important. You can tell by the way everyone speaks about it. Like this is like just a big deal. Like being on Food Network, we would say. Of course, they have to make names up for the show, obviously. But like if somebody who was a cook and they ended up being on the Food Network, okay, there we go. I got it. Okay. So Tanya Holland's kitchen table. Of course, she's nervous and worried. Who wouldn't be? Something big is happening in your life, right? And she's kind of looking at herself like questioning everything that she's doing. But she has her friends like Toy and her right hand, Mundu. She has a good community around her. So the cameras are there and things are going. Now, I didn't really realize until they were talking about it that the acronym VFC, Vegetarian Food Collective, and talking about showing her in the kitchen cooking, and as they're asking questions, and also not only is she in the kitchen, she's out there talking to customers. It was actually pretty cool because they were asking her questions. I like how Ava does this. Like I said, this is a whole show, this is a whole storyline we're watching, but in the midst of a storyline we're also seeing her highlight the things as far as like she's a woman, she's got her own business. Everybody in the kitchen were women. And I love how they asked her question. She says, "There's no men here, so women." She was like, "Well, most of the time in the kitchen, they're worried about somebody grabbing them or touching them or something like that. But here, it's like it's all of us. That's not happening." Anyway, so Ellis comes to the restaurant. He's watching everything. As you walk in, it's popping. So he sits at the bar, and the guy starts playing the menu, the drinks, the ambiance, everything. It's a whole vibe. He's like, "I'm not a vegetarian. I was kind of looking for a Sunday, but not really being too like obvious." So the guy at the bar was like, "Hey, I'm gonna get you a sampler. You can try different things that's on the menu. Trust me, it is delicious." He's explaining, of course, our foods like a black eyed peas, but the vegetarian spin on it. It was sounded really good. So anyway, he broke it down, got him a sampler. He seemed to enjoy himself, got him a good drink, and then he ended up bringing Sunday over to meet, and the camera crew was behind him. I was like, "Oh snap!" So Sunday sees him, and she's not really happy. She had a big smile on her face walking over because he was like, "Who's here?" And as the guys bring him over, he's like, "Oh, is it a critter?" She's like, "No, no, no, no." So as soon as she sees Ellis, she just stopped smiling immediately. I was like, "Oh, okay." She's not happy. Um, she's really good as far as friends. She's people around her. So when he said that to her, I was like, for her, like, no. And I felt like, "Oh, this ain't gonna work." And she just looked like she has an attitude and all these kind of things, right? Um, I think for Ellis, he kind of was thinking like whether it's his ex-wife or it's his children. It's time for him to be a little selfish and think about himself and not really worry about everybody else and worry about his own happiness. And he's talking to Sunday and giving her the things that she needs to hear. Then it happened. Beautiful moment between the two of them. They got it in. Okay. Now it was a beautiful beautiful situation. Like to be honest, it needed to happen, but I don't know what is going to happen from here. But I will say I love seeing how Sunday was in the kitchen, how she was handling her business. Like you can tell this is everything for her. Now, as far as Ellis, I don't know how he's going to deal with his daughter because she seems to be really hurt and upset about everything about her parents not still being together. So that's going to be a hard hill to climb when it comes to them dating and being together, because now they've been romantically involved. They've been intimate. I meant to say, and for her, I'm pretty sure she's like, okay, I'm doing this now, so don't play me. Don't because I left you alone back in Louisiana. So that's kind of how she's probably looking at it. And he's looking at it like, yeah, I want to get this to go, but I'm trying to take my daughter. It's a lot. So it was good episode. It was a good season. I'm enjoying it. So yeah, I was y'all waiting to hear what I had to say, but I've been having a lot going on, you guys, as usual. So we'll be back next week. This was episode 3. Um, I- from what I'm looking at, it should be a really good episode. So I will see you guys next time on a different video, on a different day, in a live, a panel, whatever I'm doing, grinding.